bin.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no moon.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vedabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
Another episode of Andor has dropped, episode 10, and it was very, very good, wasn't it, Kenton?
Oh, top-notch Star Wars. Some of the best Star Wars.
Here's the thing. I did like, again, very, very compelling, very good narrative style, and the characters and performances are all excellent. I do have some issues with what happened, though. I kind of call foul on some of the things that took place on screen. I'm wondering where some people are. There's certain things happening. I'm like, come on, this is just going to happen. But anyway, we'll get to that.
Oh, that's interesting. I have no beefs whatsoever with the episode, only bouquets. And I noticed that people online who are casual Star Wars fans are talking about it quite a bit more this week than previous weeks. That just musicians and stuff who generally don't tweet about Star Wars are tweeting about Star Wars. Today, the last one I saw was A.C. Newman, the lead singer from New Pornographers, said, "Is this the best Star Wars or something?" And I responded with, "It's right up there. Like it is right up there. It really is. I think it's. I found the episode to be exhilarating, in a word."
Well, I think that there certainly were some key scenes really were like just incredible, and the performances in those scenes, in particular, Andy Serkis just stole the show, and then freaking Stellan Skarsgård stole the show at the end of it.
But how many great speeches can you put in a show?
I don't know. Yeah, and then of course we've also got Cassian Andor with a bunch of speech every minute, like just Mr. Motivation the whole time through. That's all he's doing is, "You can do better than that." That's all he does is just like pump people up. That's what his job is. So he's awesome. So we kind of come back in with Andor and what's his name? Kino. Kino is Andy Serkis's name, who just again found out the truth that, and they're taking Ulaf's body away. So they just found out that nobody gets out. The doctor confirms their suspicions.
The doctor confirms that Ulaf is an Ugnaught. Just kidding. But you know what I did like? I did like that we got to see the actor one last time before they zipped up the bag.
Yes, that was nice. One last
time. I was happy to see him.
He probably got a credit in the episode because of that.
Right, exactly. He didn't have any speaking parts, though. All of his speaking parts happened after they zipped up the bag.
Hey guys, I'm still alive!
All right, guys, this isn't funny anymore. The body bag hits the water.
Working. So basically, and this kind of just fuels Andor's argument that they need to get out, right? He keeps pushing.
Yeah.
We have to get out of here. That we have to do it when there's a changeover, when they bring a new guy in. That's what the plan is, and he's just pushing and pushing, right? Eventually,
he says they're shorthanded. This is the bet that it will never be better than it is now for us to be able to get out of here. This is it. We got to get out of here, or if we wait, it's going to be too late.
Yeah, and then Andy Serkis, or Kino, I guess I keep calling him Andy Serkis. Takes a couple episodes, I think, for their character name to sink in. I'll call Stellan Skarsgård. No, I forget his name. I had it a second ago. Luthen, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But then I'm still with Andy Serkis, but he's so good. But he picks that up too. So, and you don't know, like you can see the conflict within him. Hey, he's just like so torn as far as what's going to happen. He just has this conditioning of working these shifts, all these years of working in this thing and beating his score or whatever, this game that he's been playing, and now he's just found out it's all a lie and that there's no way of getting out, and then he just snaps and said, no one gets out of here, right? We have to find a way out. And he said, basically, let's go to sleep, let's sleep on it. let's figure this out, is what he's saying, right? And then the next morning he wakes up and he has a plan.
Ooh, and that's true. He has a plan. The show doesn't tell us a lot about the plans in advance, that's for sure. So we're all wondering. We kind of know he noticed that elevator early on.
Right. That's Andor's plan. But Andy Serkis seems to have a plan as well. Or maybe he's just talking about Andor's plan. We do in the meantime cut back to Davo and Mon Mothma, where she is meeting with that crime boss to talk about laundering the money or raising money or whatever they're talking about. Yeah, it's laundering money basically is what they're talking about. And I like this guy. I like this character.
He's interesting, that's for sure. And I thought he might be an alien, but he's not.
No, he's human, and that's
Yeah,
probably a specific choice. I think he's actually from the same planet as Mon Mothma, Chandrillin, right? They're all Chandrillin,
right.
right? Which
And
is good.
sorry, I was gonna say it's he has something in mind that wouldn't be out of place on Game of Thrones. He
Exactly.
he wants something to happen. He doesn't want any money. Oh no, no, no. Instead, he wants to bring his son for play dates
He wants to set
to
the son up with a daughter and
yeah.
have a arranged marriage. Very similar to the one maybe that Mon Mothma herself is trapped in, her
Oh,
horrible marriage to her horrible husband who's such a jerk.
oh.
But of
At
course she
least,
doesn't like her daughter doesn't like her much either, so she could give up her daughter for that.
well, that's what I thought too, that they're putting her, although she looks sick to her stomach, like that's the worst thing he could have asked for is what he asked for, or what he implied he wants. Um, we don't see her husband in this episode though, do we? But he's probably off still celebrating his day of days. It's
He's
my
counting. He's counting the days until his next day of days.
it's my month of months. A guy like that is looking forward to something. He'd invent the month of months. That
Right,
guy.
just so they could celebrate it for sure.
Yeah. So
But
I think you're right. I think Mon Mothma's in a weird place now. I like after I watched that scene, I thought she's just gonna have to run. I don't know. That's what I thought. I thought
well,
she's got to make a beeline out of there. What do you think?
no, I think she's going to go for the deal. I think she's going to reconsider and she's going to sacrifice her daughter or her daughters
Ooh.
or whatever. Her daughter's probably going to fall in love with this kid and they're going to live happily ever after for all we know. But she's going to make that choice because I think that's why, because this guy is also, he's human, he's Chandrillin. He didn't come across as like slimy or evil like a lot of the crime bosses do in Star Wars. They always kind of like, you can tell the bad guys are bad guys in Star Wars. They're generally very, very clear. And this guy didn't seem like a bad guy, even though he is a criminal and a crime
Hmm.
boss. He seemed very intelligent. He seemed just kind of he knows what he wants. And he just was like, yeah, I want to help you, but I don't want to get paid for it. And here's what I want. Very straightforward. And I think she's gonna go for it eventually. She's gonna basically, or Luthen will force her to go for it. She's gonna need to because she's gonna need the money.
Right. And yeah, but he reminds me of the bad guys on The Wire or something, or The Sopranos, where
Yeah,
they're bad. Well, they're bad, but they're subtle and maybe even gentlemanly about it.
and
And that's
logical
how
about it.
right. And that's how you know you really have to be scared
Yeah,
because they know something that you don't know. They're smarter than you are.
yeah.
And
And I like the line,
yeah,
a drop of discomfort may be the price to pay. Right?
yeah,
That's great. I love that line. And something is the very similar line was actually in an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine that I was watching earlier today as well, which is funny because a little bit of a little bit of discomfort is sometimes part of making the deal
right.
when you're doing business. So yeah, that was really good. And so then we go back to the ISB, the Imperial Security. What's this stand for? Securities Board? No. It's the CIA, whatever it is. It's like the NSA rather, right? The
Yeah,
Imperial NSA is kind of more accurate. Um, and they're like figuring out their little ploy to whatever. They're just trying to like they have this ship that they killed. And they're gonna make it look like it was accidentally destroyed or whatever. There's some kind of weird thing they're doing, and
right.
then we find out.
There's a dude, and they're gonna make it look like he's a victim of a malfunction.
Right, but it's like so they don't want them to know that they got information about their next attack, right? Because they wanted to
Right,
go through. So then, and then I didn't catch it then, and we get this information later on that one guy is basically an informant.
right.
But I really, other than that, I didn't like. I kind of was questioning why do we need to see this scene and why are we here? Like that woman goes storming off. Do we find out what she's so worked up about? I can't remember if she said something or not.
I can't recall that scene. I've seen the episode once. I
I saw it
remember,
twice. I still can't remember.
yeah, I remember cutting back to it. I just don't. There's other more exciting stuff going on, and I think that's why we'll come back to it. But that's not really not what the episode's about.
No, exactly. Sorry. Yeah, I got distracted by that. So then then we go, okay, we're back to the jail. And so what's the plan? We find out what the plan is as is with everything in this show, we find out as they're doing it. So the plan involves first Andor going over and continuing to jam at this panel. I guess the ultimate plan there is to get the water flowing so it shorts out the floor, right? The electrical
Yeah,
floor. That's the idea. But it took me a while to get there. I'm like, what is he trying to do? He was really like working at that thing, and it was taking. And I guess they're trying to build the suspense of like, is he going to make it before the thing starts going down? But I don't know that was really that time. Like, it didn't need to be that suspenseful.
Well, I also thought that could be very dangerous. Pouring the water on the electrified floor, how would you know what that's going to do?
Right.
Like, it could boil everyone. It could boil everyone alive, I thought.
Water conducts electricity.
Right. So it was a little unclear. I mean, and then late when we get the payoff and then the water runs down to the lower floor, that's great.
Yeah.
That was a great moment where they kind of realized, oh, something's going on up there.
Yeah.
But when he was doing it, yeah, I had serious doubts about this plan. I thought, why is this so important?
And I had even more doubts when I saw the next stage of the plan. Well, no, the next stage of the plan was jam the elevators halfway down so they get stuck and they can start kind of climbing at it, and then throw tools at the guards up there. That's what they did. They just throw the wrenches and stuff at the guards to distract them, while Andor and a couple of other people kind of try to clamber up and grab at them. And that was it. But there was only 3 guards there, so they were able to take them out pretty easily, I guess. Although quite a few people died in the process.
Oh yeah, they were shooting down into the, like, shooting fish in a barrel kind of idea.
Pretty much.
But then it's fun when Andor gets to the top and he just starts shooting them. He gets his hand
takes
on
out all of them, basically. Right. He just does it all himself.
Yeah, and he's a good shot, and everybody else is kind of getting excited about, okay, this is actually working. And even if people bit the dust, Andy Serkis at the beginning, he's like, we're all dead men anyway. We're all dead men, one way or another. We're already dead, so it doesn't matter what we do. Like, we so if you die, we're already dead anyway. So it's no big loss. It was pretty good. So
it was a great speech.
Yeah. Oh, well, but they start. I found it really exhilarating when they get up and they get out, and the other prisoners start seeing what's happening. They're like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Okay, great. And they didn't do what I thought we were going to see, what I predicted, which was we need those shoes. We need those specialized shoes. I thought for sure that would be integral in the escape, but as it turns out, it wasn't.
Yeah, because we still saw the rack there with the shoes on it. Yep. So you thought that they had to grab those shoes at some point, but they didn't. Yeah.
I thought they might grab the shoes and electrocute some other guy, someone.
Well, or they might need it before they got to a certain point, because they were able to electrocute like short of the floors in that section, but not all the sections. But they got to the control room pretty easily.
Yeah.
And they did and this is where kind of my issue comes in as far as the whole jailbreak thing goes. Is they were calling for help. They clearly are, outmatched in the prison itself. Like, they don't have enough guards to cover these prisoners. But where's the backup? Where are the TIE fighters? Where are the stormtroopers up top? Are they trying to tell us that the Empire has stretched itself too thin? Is that what this is?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so, and that the whole design of these prisons is to run them with minimal everything. Like, it's going to be hard for them to escape or if not impossible. So we just need a minimum number of guards, minimum number of weapons, even. Because for them to be able to escape would be next to impossible. Like, the Empire can't even foresee that happening. And, I think the first time we ever saw that room, we thought that elevator going up and down looked like it would be that. You get on there if you wanted to escape, and that you'd get a pair of those shoes, and then you have a gun, and then you're basically halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it also, the other part though is having a big horde of men running around doesn't hurt either. Where it's just, and we get that great scene of the Imperials crouching down behind the door.
Yeah, they're just hiding. They're not trying to stop them or anything. They know they're going to get killed if those prisoners get their hands on them. So they just hide. Yeah. But I still think they would have some support up in the orbit or something. I cry foul on that. I think they should have something to come along. There's some TIE fighters should come strafe those prisoners as they're swimming to shore.
We might see something next week in the aftermath. I don't know that we're done. We're done with Andor at the prison. I don't know if we're completely done with the prison, because they're looking for Andor, and they might discover that, hey, look, they might finally put 2 and 2 together and go, this guy was at the prison. And then go check it out, either the Imperials or what's the beginning of the rebellion. either one might go there and try to figure out what happened. And that's where we might see Andy Serkis again, I'm hoping.
I think we have to see him again. I don't think they can just leave it at that because he couldn't swim. That was his thing. He couldn't swim. He couldn't jump off the hugely tall cliff of that building and then swim to shore. I don't even know if I could swim that because it's like, how far away was the shore from that thing? I'm like, that's crazy that that's what they have to do.
But even jumping from that height, that's like the San Francisco Bridge where people jump there and die because they, and one guy who lived broke both of his legs jumping off that bridge. It's not what people think. You just don't go plop into the water.
Yeah,
you break ribs, you die. Like it's a force when you hit that water. So I kept thinking, I'm glad the TV show just went, nope, they can make this jump, because I didn't want to see what I thought we might see, or the prisoners landing on top of each other, which would have been a nightmare. But when so Andy Serkis delivers that great speech at the jail, and it's great. Like, he picks up steam as he goes along, and then only to be followed by "I can't swim," and he's just kind of stuck. He backs up, and he doesn't go. Now, I thought, all right, there's a ship on the top of this prison, right? There's a place where he can go to get out of there. There has to be.
Yeah.
And if there isn't, then maybe next week somebody will come there and he will get rescued, maybe. And maybe that's the beginning of the rebellion. Might be the people who are left there, maybe.
Right.
So it's just interesting. But I do think, I was worried we're going to see him die. I didn't like that they left him behind, but that's better for long-term Andy Serkis that we didn't see him die.
Yeah, I have expected to see him die too, because he's so, like, he was totally going to do it, and people did seem to die. Like, people did seem to die. People did die.
Yeah.
But the actual characters, people who had speaking parts, bigger characters in the group were killed. The guy with the red hair was killed.
Yeah.
And some other people. So yeah, it did. It was a costly escape. They did actually, lose their friends. Were you reminded of any escape movies from this at all? Like, what, I was thinking of The Great Escape maybe, but not really, because that was about tunneling. That was about tunneling out.
This sort of, in a way, was like THX 1138.
Somebody said that, actually. That was something that came up in actually a trivia question the other day. That I do my trivia questions on TikTok. That was one of the questions, and somebody said in the comments that people are comparing this to THX 1138.
There's elements.
Yeah.
And not to mention the idea you climb higher and higher and higher to see the daylight. And the staircase, that's what reminded me of it, maybe more than anything. Maybe the prisoners' outfits a little bit. So there's definitely things that called back to that, but I can't think of another Prison Break movie that looks like that.
No, I thought about I just kind of think like those Imperial guys did kind of remind me of the Nazis in The Great Escape a little bit, but that's kind of just, Imperials are just Nazis in general, so that's just what happens.
And these ones were pretty incompetent too. They were. They're
pretty bad, yes.
Like, there's no strategy to do anything really, and when they're faced with danger, they just kind of collapse. There isn't too much to them. It's easy to intimidate them. But you know what? Andor doesn't shoot the two of them, the two remaining ones. He doesn't shoot them when they leave the room.
Yeah, he has some kind of honor system or something, right? He kills. I guess it's all fair in love and war. But if you're not immediately threatening him, he's not going to kill you. Like, he didn't kill the other guy, and we didn't see that guy this episode. That was the only thing I was disappointed in, is that we didn't see our friend with the mother, who is working over in the Imperials. Whatever is going to happen with him, we didn't check in with him this episode, but I was okay with next episode.
And I was actually okay with that, because this episode was so much about the prison break.
Yeah.
That even cutting away to something else, you just go, come on. Like, it was just so exciting to see it happen.
Yeah.
I had another thought about the prison. What was it? Oh, when he says shut off the system, and he goes, this is a hydroelectric thing. Do you know how long it's going to take to reboot it, or something like that? And he goes, I don't give a shit. Like, shut it down. And then they do. And that sort of hints that maybe this prison's days are behind it. Maybe that, and we also don't find out what they were building.
Right.
Maybe probe droids or something.
Yeah.
Some people said the Death Star is what they're building, but that doesn't, I don't know. Doesn't seem
It
like
was it was not for like repetitive tasks like that. It would be like it was kind of like mass manufacturing things, hand making mass. I don't know. I'm confusing my things, but
Yeah.
it's like that. Like they're making things by hand, but in mass quantities, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be weapons or some kind of a ship or something, or I don't know,
Yeah.
something that would get used up.
Right. And I thought they might actually assemble it and we might see what it does.
Yeah, me too. Like if it's a ship, let's see one of these ships assemble and you can fly it out of here, something like
Right.
that. But
And
that's not
maybe
what happened.
we might not be done there, but if we are done there, then I do believe we will see Andy Serkis in season 2, but I doubt we'd see him again in the line. Only if they go back there will we see him. Will we see it revisited? I guess
Right.
Andor could go back to try to get him out of there too.
Yeah.
Possible. I mean, there are a few things that could happen.
But yeah, we see what Andor's role is in all this, and what it will continue to be is that he is just the cheerleader who keeps people motivated to do what they need to do, right? That's all he cares about. Well, that's all for himself, to get himself out of there, but he's like, come on, let's go, and he doesn't stop. He's like, is that, and like, even when he's talking like Andy Serkis up to giving the speech and that kind of stuff, that was just such a great moment. And then we finish off with our trader at the ISB, who has to go through an intricate series of tunnels and elevators to get to his meeting place. But that was kind of a cool way they did that, where they started the conversation while he was still going down.
It was a little confusing at first. Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I was confused too. But they kind of made it seem like I thought the second time around I realized it right away, and it was like, yeah, okay, so this is like they've got a secure comm line, but it takes a while to get there, so they're going to talk, so they don't waste any time. But yeah, you get to find out that this guy is he's their mole, he's their inside guy. He is high up, and he is informing them, and it's like he gives them information about the attack, and Luthen's like, all right, well, I'm not going to do anything about it because they'll know about you. We're not going to get. He wanted out though. This guy wanted out. That's why he was coming to him with he had a bunch of stuff. Came to him with like 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
And said,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. He said, "Oh, you saved these things up for me." Whatever he said, like, but yeah, he needs them. He needs them. He doesn't want him to give him his position. He needs him up there to be the informant, and he gives this great speech about what he's given up. Right? The guy's like, "What are you giving up?" He's like, "Everything."
Yeah.
And he just does that. Oh, so good.
That's great. His list of things is great. The acting, the dialogue is great. His acting when he delivers it is great. He looks like a Jedi standing there with that uniform blowing in the breeze. I thought, could he be a Jedi? Is it possible?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's possible, but then people would recognize him, wouldn't they? I don't think that wig he wears would be enough. Or would it be enough?
I don't know. It depends on what he looked like when he was a Jedi before. Like, yeah. But I don't know. I don't think that's the case. Again, there's been no hint of any type of force. You don't think so? I don't think we're going to any force stuff at all. We've had was that a kyber crystal that he had before that he gave to Andor?
Yeah, that's what makes me
maybe that's
Jedi-esque.
Right. Yeah.
If he knows a Jedi, then he knows one. If he's not one, but I thought he was cutting a Jedi-like figure standing on that, whatever that was.
Oh yeah, yeah, fair.
He just seemed very Jedi-esque to me, but. What do you think he makes it out of season 1 alive?
Luthen, no.
Wow, that's interesting.
Gonna die. Yeah, I think he's going to die because he's just so dedicated to it. Yes, he's going to give his life for the cause. He absolutely will.
That only occurred to me this week that he might not make it out. When I sort of saw what he was up to, and when he said I've lost everything, or I've sacrificed everything, and that's when I thought, okay, not everything. There's one more thing he can sacrifice, and that's probably what we're going. That is a I'm about to die speech.
Yeah, pretty much. But he's going to do it. He's going to sacrifice himself and save Andor, save something else, or give birth to the Rebel Alliance because of that, or it's going to be great. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. So we only have 2 more episodes left.
Oh, only 2.
What's going to happen? Do you think? How do we wrap these things to it? Because honestly, and they may go with the traditional thing is like the penultimate episode is really, there's a lot in that second last episode, and then that last episode is a bit of a letdown because it's just like wrapping up all the loose ends. So you think we're going to get that in this case?
Well, we know there's a season 2, which makes me happy. I'm glad there's a season 2. The question is, how much of a cliffhanger can we take before season 2? And will this feel like a resolution, or will it not feel like a resolution? What would make us want to keep watching more? And that would probably be some indication of a character who we have not seen who might show up, or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one thing we haven't had is really any kind of big name cameos.
And it's okay if we don't, but if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it in a finale.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's going to end with Andor meeting Mon Mothma, and then that's when they're gonna start working together, and that's gonna lead
Oh,
to,
maybe.
down the road to Rogue One.
Yeah.
Andor's the guy who gets it done, right? He's going to be their guy who can do the tough tasks. He's going to take. So that's why I think Luthen's going to die, and Andor's going to take over for him, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah. That's quite possible. I hope not. I like Luthen so much that I would like him to hang around too. But I would like a buddy movie with Andy Serkis and Cassian Andor, or something where it's the two of them for a while getting into trouble.
Yes.
Like Hope and Crosby in the old days.
Oh, I just finished watching Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Oh yeah.
Last night.
Like
so
that.
Like those two guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's been a lot of fun. Anything else before we wrap up? I don't know. Is there anything else you had?
I just think I do think that was top-notch Star Wars. I really do. I have not watched it a second time, but knowing that there's only 2 more episodes left, I'm going to watch the whole season again at one big swoop, just because I think I now am more interested in why the first 3 episodes unfurled the way they did, particularly given that the payoffs are so big.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of want to see what got planted in those early episodes again.
Yes.
Foreshadowing and things like that. Because how could we foresee that we were going to get a heist and a prison break drama in the same season? It's amazing.
And we still have 2 episodes left. They could still do something else. We could still throw in a lawyer show or something. Maybe a emergency room drama, something like that.
I just hope he doesn't twerk with Megan Thee Stallion anytime soon.
It'll be like
That'd be terrible.
Star Wars ER. That's what I want to see. A hospital drama set in the Star Wars universe.
What else? Oh, we haven't had a space battle.
That's right. Yes, and that's kind of the key Star Wars element. That's, other than the Force stuff, is the starfighter battles. That's not been an element of this at all, and it might not. Again, it might, it's not really. We've heard about stuff happening, but we haven't really seen anything. So whatever, it's just not part of this show, and that's just fine.
Yeah, I don't think any Jedi this season whatsoever. I don't think so, and I don't think any cameos until the last episode, and even then. But I think
something like that.
Yeah, it could be something like that in the Senate. But I think a space battle is almost a given at this point, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Or the first, it'd be like the Scarif battle in Rogue One, like a big one at the end.
Maybe. Or they could leave us with a tragedy. I thought something big happens, like the classic Empire Strikes Back scenario.
Yeah.
Could be lots of different things. Oh, and Andor needs to go back to that beach resort to get the money he put on top of the shower. Do you think we'll see that or no?
No, I don't think so. I think that's gone, long gone.
Too
bad.
But
he does. I think we do stay with his mom though. We do stay with things happening on Ferrix just a little bit, so that something's still going on there. Something's still relevant there. We see the rebel woman, who the one other person who lived through the heist is on Ferrix, watching over. I guess she's watching over his mom or something. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, she's waiting for. They were waiting for Andor to show up.
And there's another guy there too. Yeah, they're both. There's 2 people there. I think there's an Imperial guy there too waiting. So they're just waiting for him to show up.
And none has figured out that he went to prison
because he had a fake name.
But I think it'd be funny if they did find out that he did go to the prison, but were unaware of the prison break.
Right, and then they show up there and they find, and then Andy Serkis takes their shuttle and takes off.
Andy Serkis could be he could still be a player in this show. I don't think till next season. I think maybe next season we'll learn more.
Okay.
But I wonder how much of next season has been shot. Because this is the classic. He's a breakout character at this point who people really like. So it makes me wonder if they already had plans for him or if they might increase his role given the demand, given that people love him so much.
I could see both possibilities. He's a very busy guy, so I could see he just picks whatever roles he wants, and clearly he wanted to be a part of Star Wars again in a different way.
Yeah.
As an actor more so than a motion capture, what he was doing before. And it's actually just very, very good. Like if they give Emmys, I think he deserves an Emmy for this. I think Stellan Skarsgård deserves an Emmy. These guys are just incredible. And yeah, they could, like the same way they kind of wrote in, what was it they did with there was another character that they gave more time to. I can't remember what it was. So another example of that where there was a character that this was so popular they just in Star Wars I'm talking about, specifically in Star Wars.
I don't know.
I want to say Ahsoka, but I don't know if that was the case. Ahsoka was always a part of that.
I don't know. I have to think about that.
Yeah, maybe somebody can tell me. Tell me if
Yeah.
that's the case. Anyway,
I was gonna say the Fawns, but that's not Star Wars.
Hey, that's Star Wars. They jumped the shark in Star Wars. They jumped the. You know.
Fonzie jumped the shark on Star Wars. Now that I want to see.
That was a great episode. All right.
Great episode.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it. Then we'll continue on, watch episode 11 next week, and do the podcast. And let us know your thoughts, of course, on Andor, the series. You can talk to us on Twitter, Facebook, or TikTok. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
That's no move.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Now I am the master.
I'm taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work.